What's up, everybody? It's Dandy back for one more round of Core Keeper. That's right, we have made it to the final video. We have fought the 3 original bosses, the 3 OG Titans, every single slime, and the 3 Titan Hydras. And now we're back for the final round of bosses. There are 3 remaining. There's the final boss of the game, which we will access shortly, and then 2 very late game optional bosses I want to show you. Now, I've chosen these in an order that made sense to me, but you know, you can fight them however you want, with the exception that the final boss I will show you today, named Urschleim, is arguably the final boss in the game. He is the toughest thing by far to defeat and requires the most setup to defeat him appropriately, so we'll get there when we get there, though. First off, we're going to fight something called the Atlantean Worm. So what is the Atlantean Worm? It is a giant worm. Kind of like the Hydras, it roams around and has to be found out in the ocean biome. And the best way to do that is to go to our little scanny man here and build the Atlantean Worm scanner. Now, I know I haven't built any of the scanners previous to this, but this boss is special in that it doesn't have a set arena, kind of like the Hydras, so I wanted to show y'all what you should be looking for. So, you hit 7, or whatever button your scanner goes on, and start to scan. Alright, you can see I've activated the scanner. You can see that it pulsed out. Now with the map open, you can see we're up here towards the water biome, and there's the Atlantean Worm. And he's actually moving down towards one of our waypoints. So I'm going to go ahead and get there real fast so we can fight this guy. Before you go, though, make sure to stop at, I believe it's the fisherman? No, it's not the fisherman. It's this fellow right here. And buy a bait pillar. You need one of these expensive bait pillars to fight the boss. So now that I have one, I'm heading to the boss. Alright, so we're in the water biome. You can see that the boss is almost upon us here. So I'm going to go ahead and get into a position with my boat. Again, this is a water fight, so make sure you bring the boat. Start moving up. Very convoluted path. So I have the bait pillar ready. And I'm going to go look for this boss. So you can see here, he's approaching. So I'm going to go try to see him underwater, because it's a really cool looking boss to see underwater before you summon him up. Let's see, we're almost there. There we go. Look at that. You can see the worm underwater before you even fight it. So when you see this, lay down this bait pillar. He's going to be attracted to it, destroy it, and the fight is on. So this Atlantean Worm is a tough customer. You can only hurt him on these injured scales here, like you see, like I just did. And that's it. You can't even hurt him on the head. His head is not a weak spot. It's just these injured scales. And when you injure those scales, he'll actually break off into smaller other Atlantean worms. So this fight is a real doozy and requires a lot of space. So I am going to continue to pick at them. As you can see there, by destroying those other segments, I have created yet more worms to fight. That's kind of this whole boss mechanic, is he does have projectiles, but he'll bump into you and deal damage. He'll fire electricity, and as you can see there, tear up the world as he goes through it. So I want to try to finish off some of these smaller worms before I keep making more and more to fight. So you can see as I break them down, it just continues to be a worm. The boss will spread out multiple times, and you have to destroy all of it to destroy it. So that one's dead. Let's go ahead and knock this one down a size. And that's the whole fight. It's definitely a convoluted one. The first time me and my friends fought this, it was really tough, and several of us died a few times over and really had to come back to retry. So that's why I saved him for the final video. Completely optional, but a really, really cool boss, really aesthetic, and actually a little difficult if you're not prepared. Again, with me having mostly late game gear, you know, it looks like I'm trivializing it, but this is a war of attrition. This boss has a lot of health bars and can be really hard to hit with weapons that don't lock on. So once you've defeated him, congratulations, you've defeated him. As with many bosses, he'll drop a chest, so I'll go ahead and hop out here. And the chest will have a variety of goodies. The Atlantean Worm Heart is actually good because it permanently gives you 100 max health. So beating it is a huge buff to your character. You can also find a Scholar Satchel, which is one of the late game bags that's good for magic and mana using builds. And then things like the Atlantean Worm Sword, which is a really good late game melee sword because it heals, attacks fast, and does bonus damage to bosses. So a variety of really cool things here, definitely worth taking. You know, other than that, it's just some fish, some ore, the usual suspects. But a very cool boss, a very cool chest for you. And one of the final 3 eliminated. So next up, I'm actually going to do the final boss of the campaign game because I think it is slightly easier than the last boss on the list. So I'm going to head back to the base. I'll see y'all there. You know, when we hit the base, you got to top off and build more recall idols. These things are indisposable. So boom, 17 of them. All right. So the final boss that we're going to fight is the actual final boss of the game, and huge spoiler warning if you're still going through the campaign. Throughout the game, I'm sure that you've talked to this funny fellow, your big core friend, after you brought it back online, and he's helped guide you towards your objectives throughout the entire game. The last thing he tells you to do is go and quote-unquote free us, you know, to finish the helping them. Turns out not as cool as you'd think, but we'll get into that when we get to the boss fight. So, I've already killed the boss, by the way, but this boss is farmable. They made the final boss something you can farm, and it's easier than a lot of other bosses. You simply go to our shady merchant friend, and after you've beaten the final boss, you can buy the Core Commander Summoning Idol, and it's only 500. So, not bad at all to be able to refight the final boss in the game. As compared to the, I mean, how much was it to summon the Atlantean Worm? The bait cost 3 grand, but the final boss, 500. So, either way, I'm going to head out to where he is, and I'll see y'all there. Alright, so we are in the desert, as you can tell, and this is going to be the place of our final boss fight. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, you might remember this giant invincible skeleton here. So I found this, made a place to fight the Atlantean Worms, and then was like, I need to fight the final boss. Where is he? Just so happens, I looked out, and the final boss was right next to that portal zone. As you can see on the map here, kind of a wonderful little cluster. I built the portal here because it's in the open area in the line of the Atlantean Worms, but lo and behold, giant crystals here. Now, since I fought him, this is what it looks like. If you haven't fought him yet, it'll be, I think it was almost a cave. There were a bunch of rocks that got destroyed, but it had a bunch of shining blue crystals with one massive crystal in the middle, and the whole thing just reeked of radiation. It also had some of the galaxite ore, as you can tell by these little, I guess, bars or lengths of galaxite around it. So, very easy to identify when you're in the game, but it doesn't mean anything until you get to the end. Once you've collected all of the souls, like I have, the core will send you here. And from here, you can summon and fight the Core Commander. So the brief lore rundown, and I'm definitely not a lore buff, so this is just what I picked up from playing through the game, is that the Core and all of its everything are a species that crashed here a long time ago to take over the planet, to become the dominant species and make this their home. Something went horribly wrong. What exactly, I'm not sure, but the world rebelled and they weren't able to get what they needed to take off. Cut to us. We get brought down here, take out all of the Titans that would fight against these people, and bring the power to them, which reawakens them from their long slumber. And, you know, you'd think, oh, they'd be grateful. We helped them get out of this crisis they were in. But no, their perfect civilization has no place for you. You were too strong. You were able to take out all the Titans, and because of it, they don't think they can trust leaving you alive because something as strong as you would be a threat to their civilization. So the boss fight ensues from there. To that end, we're going to summon this boss in, and I'm going to show you what you're in store for with the Core Commander. So lay his summoning idol on the statue and prepare for a fight. So you can see big fella here, completely invincible, can't be hurt, but there are these 3 orbs rotating around. So you guessed it, to get rid of that shield, you're going to have to take out these 3 orbs. While you're doing this, the Core Commander is going to be firing a variety of electricity-based attacks at you, none of which, at this point in the game, incredibly hard to dodge, but all worth watching out for. Do also note that once you knock out these cores, they'll start pulsing out things to deal damage. Oh yeah, he also does this, which I am not a big fan of, because this move can hurt. Ow, as you can see there, half my health gone in an instant. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking out these core pieces. That is definitely the worst move, and much like the Scarab boss, you're going to want to make sure you have some platforms with you, or something you can place down to try to block that. So I'm going to heal again, because this is definitely a test of skill, and get that. There we go. So if he summons this in, just build yourself a little wall. You'll be fine. You don't have to worry about it. So, super cheap and effective way to prevent him from hitting you with arguably his strongest move. So I'm going to go ahead and take out this final orb. Once the orb has been destroyed, bam, you see he shuts down for a little bit. Now the orbs will still shoot, but he's out of business, so I can just wail on him with the weapon. Now, like with the other bosses, there is a limit to the damage that can be dealt, but the limit is a little nicer. I think you can make it almost a 50% if you have the damage. But once he has taken all the damage he can take, or a certain amount of time passes, you can see that he perks back up and goes right back to attacking you, as well as all of the different orbs popping back up as well. So we're going to have to go through and knock them all down again, while avoiding those same moves we've been learning to avoid, so that we have a chance to actually damage the boss again. So I'm going to go a little more expediently through this, just because you've already seen the moves. So you just have to avoid all of the random electricity that is trying to destroy you. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and block this move just so I don't waste any time in the final fight. Or once I get this final orb broken. Ow. Alright, orb is broken. Let's deal as much damage as we possibly can. With any luck, I'll be able to kill him with the 2 cycle, but I don't think I'm going to have that luxury. I would need to be critting more consistently. Alright, so he has a bit more health left, but with some careful attacks. Oh, and you can see here more moves start to spawn as you continue to damage him. Like with a lot of bosses, as their health gets lower, they get angrier. So you can see a bunch of tornadoes have started to appear that you're going to have to dodge, because they will just deal a whirlwind of damage to you if you're standing inside of them. So one more orb to take out here. And we are done. Alright, so let's finish off that health bar. And like that, health bar's taken care of, and the boss is dead. The boss is not dead. The boss is now unleashed. Cool. He has a fun heart. You can see his abdomen. Awesome. Alright, so now we're in phase 2 of the fight, where things go faster. It's the same gimmick as the first time, where you have to destroy these orbs to be able to attack him. But this time he does that. So what happens here is he'll put you in a bubble, and you have to stay inside of this bubble or take pretty consistent damage. This makes obviously dodging moves and damaging these orbs a lot more difficult, especially because, as I'm sure you've noticed, the little circle starts to sink. So you really do start getting whooped on. Now you can leave and head over to other areas, but again, it causes a lot of damage, so you really have to be choosy about when you leave your safety. Plus, make sure you have a lot of potions. So I've knocked him down again, and as you could expect, we're just going to wail on him one more time. So the mechanic for damaging him is very much the same. You just want to make sure that you are watching your health like a hawk and damaging these orbs as quickly as possible, because he's going to use every chance he gets to do this. You'll notice, too, that the safe spaces are around the orbs that exist in the world. Ow. I'm just going to get hit by every single one of those projectiles, if that's cool, because I'm bad at dodging them. So yeah. And you can, like I said, take some damage to leave that zone, so I stop getting hit by that one move over and over again. So now I'm hanging out here where it's a little safer. Let it end. Get back to damaging the orbs that I am able to damage. Ow. Alright. I think it'll probably take 2 more cycles, because again, even with the greatest weapons in the game, this boss is a riot. So, alright. Get as much damage in as possible. This is a boss fight that I've done with friends, I've done alone to grind, and, ow. He is just always a troublemaker. So, yep, gonna make us through the 3rd cycle, which means we have to survive. Ow, one more wave of that. This time, though, none of the things were destroyed, so I'm hoping I can get that one. Yep, nice. Make sure to maintain my health by chugging potions constantly. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm basically only using the standard potions. The other ones cost so much more and are so... they're just not nearly as efficient as I'd hope they'd be, so I just always stuck with the normal potions. But either way, once you've whittled him down, destroy his 2nd health bar, and the boss is finally defeated. Another world which hath expelled us. Or was it the unity of its inhabitants? And on that somber note, and taking a step back because bosses like to explode in this game, the boss is dead. As always, you can expect a cool reward. So, Void Gun is one you get a lot, and it definitely doesn't look like a penis. Spooky Blanket Cape, oh, that's a new one. That, I guess, is part of, the Halloween events. That's really cool. And then a random variety of the gems you need to farm the Titan bosses, actually. So very, very cool, because those can be very hard to get. So being able to farm this boss easily is a great way to get those gems and farm the Titans if you need some of their gear. But a cool chest you can obtain, and the final boss defeated, the core commander taken out. Now, this would usually be the end of the game, and for many it will be, but if you're like me and an achievement hunter, you knew there was one boss left and you knew you had to figure out how to defeat it. I'm talking about the primordial slime, Urschleim. It's a tough one for sure, not particularly, it's not tough like this boss was tough, because it doesn't have the same complex mechanics, but it is tough in that you have to kill it before it kills you. So, let's head back to base and I'll explain more. Alright, now that we're back in the base, I want to tell you about Urschleim. Urschleim is the last boss you will probably fight if you're playing through all of the bosses in this game. He is a huge primordial slime that exists outside of all of the biomes we visited prior to this. He is incredibly tanky, incredibly decently fast moving, and relatively simple to fight outside of the fact that you have to defeat him in a time limit. The time limit can be changed. It's completely up to you and how much work you want to put in, but the boss itself will insta-kill you if you let it touch you. So your time limit is how much of a runway you set up to fight it. So as you can see on the map around the perimeter, which I've only really explored the northern perimeter, but here's the last bit of the kind of north forest biome. There's a large crystal biome, which are very important for getting through this game, but you'll discover that on your own. And beyond the last biome is a pit. If you traverse beyond this pit, you will find the outer reaches of the core. Now, this is the, for lack of a better term, final biome. This is where the game is over. It's the fossil zone. There's very little out here. There's some rare ore, a handful of other materials, but for the most part, that's it. And out here is where you will find Urschleim. Now, Urschleim does not require being summoned in and does not stop moving, ever. Urschleim is kind of like the original Gorm the Devourer, the worm we fought, but just travels around the exterior of the map in a circle all the time, forever, and will insta-kill you if he touches you. As you can see here, my brother and I, who defeated him together, created a relatively comprehensive, 16th of the map with which to fight him, and it was still pretty close for us, but I'm going to go ahead and teleport up there and start preparing for the boss fight by using this teleporter that I placed down. Please note, there are a lot of enemies here that destroy portals, so when I get there, I'm going to quickly get away from it so that it doesn't have the potential of being destroyed, so I'll see y'all up there. Alright, I am here. I'm going to step away from the portal. So this is the Great Beyond, and it is rough. It's rough because, as you can see, my mining damage is too low to hurt the walls with the best mining weapon in the entire game. The only way you can even potentially damage these are with very late game bombs. Hello, evil monster. Very, very late game bombs, which you can get from those guys I just killed. Or by wearing a full set of late game mining gear to buff your mining skill. And it'll let you pick through this stuff very slowly. Again, not a quick way to get through things. Ow! But it's just what this biome calls for. As you may have also noticed, I'm constantly being assailed by terrible little monsters that want to destroy me, and that'll never stop. They come from the walls, they come out of everywhere, and they hunt you while you are in this biome, and those things deal a lot of damage. So just, you have to stay on your toes in this place. You will die a lot coming here, and honestly, your first couple trips are probably going to be very shallow, and just for the sake of collecting some of the ore you can find hidden around here. But that's not what this video is about. It's about the boss. So every so often you'll find one of these, which I also can't destroy. It is a crafting bench that you can use to create things out of the ore that you find in this area. This is the super late game crafting bench, and it only exists in this outer ring. So you can see there's a lot of stuff I can build. There's a whole armor set from Pandorium, which is the gear we're using. A really fun wand, which casts just random spells all the time. An axe, and then the Stormbringer, the weapon I'm currently using. This one takes a lot of work to get, but it's well worth it, I promise. Past that, Primeval Slime Cell, it resummons Urschleim. So this is what we need to actually bring the boss Urschleim back. There's also a scanner for Urschleim, but I'm not going to build that right now because, as you might have noticed, 40 or cytoplasm is what you need to create the slime cell, and that's all I have. But this will tell you where he is in the circle of the map. So I'm going to go ahead and build this Primeval Slime Cell here, put it in my inventory, and we're going to move to the very beginning of my starting track because he goes around clockwise. So I'm going to go all the way over to here and kick this boss fight off. I'll see y'all when I get over there. Figured I'd stop to show you all this real quick. As you might have noticed, there's a really big area in which I set up a whole bunch of these like flame traps on the ground to try to help survive this area when we first showed up. And lo and behold, most of them are destroyed because everything in this place is evil and I hate all of it. Alright, I will take a brief stop. For those of you coming for the ore, this is what the ore looks like. So you mine these rocks here, which are very tonally pleasant. Listen to this. Anyway, you mine them up and you're going to get the ore. Here it is, Pandorium ore. So if you're looking for it, these are what the ore nodes look like. Anyway, back to running down my boss ramp. Fun fact, Pandorium does also have stationary drilling nodes. So that's cool if you want to set one up in literally the worst place ever. My map is shaking. Urschleim might still be alive. Uh-oh. Yep, there's Urschleim. Okay, so we're getting into this right now. So I have potions in my inventory. I need to find... Oh god, where are they? So this is Urschleim. It's a giant wall of slime, and the only way to fight it is by destroying its 3 funny eyeballs, and when you do, you can see it slows down a little bit. So I usually put a speed potion on, or actually no, a damage potion is what it is, but alright, so we're gonna pop all 3 of them here. Fortunately, I have very high damage because I am a super late game character, so this works out, but I didn't even make it all the way down my ramp. So once you pop all the eyeballs, Urschleim himself pops out. You damage the funny worm as much as possible, but again, there are thresholds. You cannot kill it in one go. So you get as much damage done as humanly possible, and as soon as it sucks back in, all of those eyes are going to rebuild themselves. Where are those potions at? There they are. Alright, I found the potions in my inventory, so I'm going to get ahead of this thing. Move the potions up. These are just damage, melee damage potions, because this weapon counts as a melee weapon, and we're going to get back at it. So yeah, the whole boss fight is just destroy these eyeballs. Don't let the wall of death touch you, because it deals like 18,000 damage, which is more than any person can survive, no matter what kind of build you're going. And try to kill it before you get to the end of your boss ramp. So I think it takes 4 times maximum to destroy it. So you really have to put the effort in. Urschleim is definitely it's a gimmick boss a little bit. The gimmick is don't let it touch you or you will die. So not horribly hard if you're prepared for it like we did, but by tirelessly, oh god, oh, see, you gotta be careful, dude. And it does pick up the pace as you keep moving, so you really have to be careful. It slows down briefly as you break the eyeballs, but having stuff to augment your movement speed is so important. Like burritos that increase your movement speed. So I have to still break it one more time if I'm dealing enough damage to make it a 4 cycle, which is a risky maneuver because this dude is a bummer. So, alright, looks like we should be good. I'm just going to start at the top and move down. Oh! That's just a normal big enemy. You'll just see them sometimes. Hey, my flamethrowers are helping. That's kind of nice. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Ugh! Yeah, you can see where there might be problems with okay. Oh, that was so close. Alright, let's see if I can finish him off. If he would have touched me right there, I would have exploded and been instantly dead, which is very troublesome because you have to wait for him to circle the whole map to get back here. Alright, I got him. Get away from me, you stupid little worm. Alright. As you can see, the fun here never ends, but Urschleim has been slain. You get a really fun, goopy-looking chest, and, yeah, wow. We had actually used up all the ramp that we had. I was just in wild open territory there. So any further, do not touch me any further, and things could have gotten very bad because I haven't intentionally cleared out the parts after what you kind of see here. So, because there's my portal up there. So, hey, also, really cool. Would you look at this? A structure, but that's, you know, explore around, find those, have fun. But either way, when you kill him, you get a variety of things. Giant mitochondria. Gives you 100+ max health, so very cool to continue. Ow! Well, there goes everything in the chest. So, a variety of gear, including the chest itself. You can get Urschleim or Soul Fossil, which is called the Soul Fossil set. Better for explosions, and it does thorn damage, so it deals damage around you as you take damage. You get his fun chest, which is always neat. I don't need your fossils. You can get a variety of gems and stuff, so a lot of cool things you can get from this boss. Worth grinding out, if not just killing once for the mitochondrion and the experience, but getting the fossil set's also pretty cool. So either way, that was the final boss there. So I'm going to go ahead and teleport back home, and we'll close this video up there. Whew. All right. Well, that was a doozy. But like that, we have beaten every single boss that exists in this game. Unless I'm going crazy, Urschleim is the absolute final one on our list, and you have now been shown every single boss. So, a lot of really, really cool bosses. I've been playing this game since way before its 1.0 release, since back before there was anything past the initial 3 areas. And it's been a blast the whole time. All of the bosses are really, really fun to fight, really well designed. I love the theming, I love the gameplay, I just love this game in general, and it's been a blast being able to walk y'all through all of the different bosses and kind of what you should expect with them. So, if there's anything else in Core Keeper that y'all want to know, please leave it in the comments. Otherwise, I think I'm probably done with Core Keeper for the time being. So, it's been a blast, and again, I am Dandy. Thanks for hanging out and watching. Subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Later, friends.